Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. What's up, guys? Merry Christmas. I hope you guys had an awesome time, a great holiday time, and getting ready for the new year because, man, it's kind of sad, but it's kind of awesome. This is our last show of 2022.
I mean,
Yeah.
2022 has been quite an exciting year for Inside Scoop, but you know what?
We move forward, right?
Jeff, I didn't even tell you this. I heard this random stat, and it just made me think of us, Martial Arts Internet Network, and the Insiders. Did you know that 90% of all podcasts that start do not make it past episode 3?
Yeah, I've heard that stat before.
Isn't that the wildest thing?
Yeah.
And of those that make it, 80% of those don't make it past episode 20.
Okay, that makes sense.
Isn't that madness? Isn't that crazy?
That
it's
is.
Like all you got to do is just don't quit. You know what I mean? Who cares if nobody cares what you sound like? Nobody cares what you have to say. Just don't quit. You know what I mean? You'll be in the elite percentage.
I mean, here's the deal. Like we said, what are we talking about? Well, we have some things here. Doesn't really matter. Let's just have fun, right? That's what we say every time. Just have fun, man. Like we get to do, we get to get on here and talk about what you and me love more than almost anything, right? Yeah, I mean, almost anything.
We're nerds.
God, But after that, it's probably a good number 3 or 4. Yeah, I mean, we're not lying. We're not wrong. So, but all right, as we go on, as you guys see in the background, Virtual Fight Tour. We are sponsored by Virtual Fight Tour. They have done an awesome job sponsoring us and being a part of what we do at Maine at the Martial Arts Internet Network from almost the beginning. And we've been a big supporter of theirs since VFT started. So VFT Grudge Match, February 4th. This is going to be awesome. I know we're going to be really heavily focusing on that, having possibly some of the fighters that are fighting on the card on the show in January. So it's going to be a big month as we get you guys ready for that, as well as we have some other events that are happening as well in January. So get ready, guys. It's going to be great. But the main card is Thomas Wright coming back after 18 years of not going against Trey Lazenby. This is a grudge match. They don't like each other. Clash of styles, clash of attitudes. So,
yeah. I was kicking it around like, should I go? Have you ever been to a VFT fight card?
No, I'm thinking about going. I've already told Jesse I'm interested.
I don't know how I would make it. I don't know how I'm going to get a babysitter to watch the kids so I can work tomorrow. Stuff like that, and then I'm just going to get one to watch the kids, so it can be in the weekend in New York. Because I might go, I want Lindsay to come with. I actually have never been to New York, that you're right, Thomas. We both should go. So, all right, Jeff, if one of us is able to make it happen, we'll figure it out. I don't know.
And here's the deal.
It would be cool because I'd love to see the cage experience too, man.
Right. Well, if we go, Jesse's going to put us to work. So that could be fun too.
I mean, wouldn't mind that.
That's right. Man, so it's going to be a great fight. It's going to be a great card. It keeps filling up. Lots of good, fighters from the South are going to be up there. And I think there's probably a couple more that they're going to add. We got some junior fights. So it's going to be a great card. We're going to break that down more in the future. So make sure, guys, you go ahead and get your tickets now. Go ahead and purchase the pay-per-view and make it happen, man. This is going to be awesome.
So you know what I started thinking about regarding the fight card is because Jesse does a fantastic job of, all right, if this area of people, if I got like a main event from this area, let me see if I can get some other fighters around that area or from that camp. Maybe we could make a fight card happen with these guys. Yeah. So where's Trey coming from? Trey's coming from Atlanta, Georgia.
Yep.
They're pretty saturated with high-end talent. I don't want to say saturated because there's no such thing. It's pretty dense with high-end talent.
Yeah.
And We're going to be in New York. There's going to be quite a bit of people there. I don't know. Maybe we could get like some top young talent against each other. It don't have to be a grudge match, but what if we saw Kevin Walker and Darren Payne?
Hey,
wouldn't that be kind of cool?
That'd be cool. That'd be
kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
Right. Maybe I don't know if anybody could do it, but if anybody could, probably Jesse. But what if we saw Justin Ortiz fight? What if we saw that?
I don't think.
Come on, people! Don't tell me you don't want to see that.
I don't think that's going to happen. But
wouldn't that be exciting? Immediately, everybody listening was like, "Yeah, that would be exciting. I wouldn't want to see that."
I'm thinking I'm hoping that we get a good female fight because that's the only thing we haven't really seen yet. So I'm hoping for that. There's some good ones in the area, but there's also some again from that Georgia area, the South area that could come up and be a part of it. So, let's hear what you guys are thinking.
That would be exciting, right?
That would be exciting. That would be.
See, look at that. Immediately wheels are turning. Everybody listening is like, hey, Alex is either onto something or he's on something.
Oh, Alex. All right. So again, and I just have what we talking about just because there's lots to talk about here. But first, let's talk about what just happened. Christmas, man. How was your Christmas? You have, a lot going on. You got lots of kids, so run around. I'm sure it's always an important
time. It's kids are running around. So any parent with young kids or whoever, when they had young kids, they'll know one of the things you have to try to do is keep them away from tearing apart your Christmas tree. And so sometimes the bottom of the Christmas tree is a bit barren because that's what they can reach. So you just put everything up top. But what we did, and this, I gotta tell you, so my son, Adrian.
Alex, that works if you don't have cats. Okay. That works if you don't have cats. All right. Do you have cats?
You have cats?
Yeah. All right. And they get on the very top of the tree. That's why we didn't even put a big tree out this year. We just put some small ones out just because it was so it's going to break everything anyway. So yeah.
You're a cat person, huh?
No, I'm not.
Oh, Shelly's a cat person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So by default, you're a cat person.
Right. What's up, Leandro?
How many cats?
Just two.
You need dude, 2 cats.
2 is enough. Yeah, I know.
That's way more.
And then remember, my wild dog, which he's calmed down a lot. But if people don't remember the story, do you remember the story? Because last year, on this episode, I shared about my engagement, right, and how that happened.
Yep.
And remember, my dog. We only had the dog for like a month.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
And he pooped all over the car. We had to clean everything up. It was rough.
I'm going to go back and listen to last year's episode. Insiders, you guys got to go back and listen to the way Jeff tells the story about how he ended up proposing to Shelly. That was amazing.
Yeah. So we were, Shelly and I were talking about that over the weekend. It was just like,
obviously,
it's been a year now. And it's like, this dog's gotten a lot better. That's great because it was just a wild story to get to where we did. But yeah, man, go ahead with what you're talking about. Then I'll share with mine.
Oh no, well, I was gonna say, you know what? Like, of the 3 kids, like my youngest, he is like the biggest bruiser. Like he'll just like tear through anything. Like if anything's in reach, like boom, he's gonna break it. And actually, like what we used to do, we used to put like this little makeshift gate like around the tree, and we didn't this year. And he was really good. It was pretty cool. We loved it, man. It was great. But then you get to the point where it's like you get these toys, right? And then you got to go. All of a sudden, now it's like you got to put it together, or this needs batteries, or we can't get this to work, right? Like there was this really cool idea for this gun. I was looking in the store. My oldest son, he wanted to get something. It's really simple to get him stuff, like make it car or truck related, make it dinosaur related, or make it gun related. It's just little boy, make it simple, something like that. We're cool.
That's so funny.
So I got him this toilet paper wad shooting gun.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to load the toilet paper in. It's got like a little side like spout, just like it would be on a toilet paper roll. And I'm trying to feed the thing in, and I'm trying to cock it, and it won't feed, like it won't work. And I'm like, I don't want to break the thing in half. Like you literally had to assemble the gun too, like it came in pieces. And I'm like, oh, this has failed. And then Christmas Eve, that's when we wrapped them all. Lindsay realizes we need a bunch of batteries because the moment they open them, they want to play with them.
Yep.
How are you going to be like, oh, well, we don't have batteries, and oh, it's Christmas, nothing's open, so we'll wait till next week? Not going to happen.
No,
so she leaves, goes out and gets the batteries, comes back, and we keep wrapping like,
yeah.
So it was like that. It was like, you're up 2 a.m. type of thing, right? So you get no sleep.
Right.
Because what are you going to do? Tell the kids no, sleep in. Correct. It's Christmas morning. Like you're going to get up. Like there's no way around it. So anyway, it was cool. My daughter, when she would open gifts, she would rip open the wrapping. She would look at what it was, scream, ah, and then open it up a little bit more and then go, what is it? She would scream in excitement before she understood what it was. She's just super excited. You know what I mean?
That's great. That's great. Yeah. Being around my niece and nephew, it was like that for them, just the random things and, because my niece turns 4 January 15th and my nephew's 7. So they're just in that excited mode. But my nephew is like super, like just interested in everything and stuff. So it's just different. For us, we have teenagers. And also like we tried something different this year and it turned out awful. Okay. So, all right. Okay. So
sorry,
we have teenagers. All right. So like, all right. When I don't know, I didn't grow up this way. I grew up with my parents being married, and one Christmas to go to, and that was it. Right.
Oh, you should have outsourced me, man. I could have gave you some tips.
Yeah. So, but over the years, the kids have had to, they're supposed to come to us at like 8 a.m. in the morning on Christmas Day as they stay at their week at their dad's, and so then they're going to come at 8 a.m. That usually doesn't happen, 10 or whatever, right? Especially with teenagers, right? Yep. So the idea, and I don't know who came with it, I guess it was Shelly and Sarah, the oldest, was that, well, maybe we won't have Christmas on the 25th and won't do presents. We'll just hang out. So that way, because we're not in a rush to open presents and not in a rush to do this and that. Because, all right, when they're doing everything and it feels like, all right, they're just moving from one place to the next to do everything and not really getting to spend time with everyone on Christmas. That was the idea, right? But the problem is, like the boys are like, wait a minute, what? I thought you were joking. Like, no, we're the presents. I was like, so can we at least do, like stockings or something, and then tomorrow do that or whatever? So after a while, I was like, all right, this ain't really working, and not everyone was too happy and thrilled. I think the idea, the concept had good meaning behind it, but we went ahead but they wanted to wait until like the 30th. I was like, that is way too long just because one present can't get here in time. Like, no, just go ahead. Let's go ahead and do it. No matter how old you are, especially me, my birthday's on Christmas. So I'm like, let's get in the spirit. Let's go. So we ended up doing presents yesterday. It was a lot of fun. We went to my brother's house on Christmas though. So we got to do presents and things like that with them.
You guys have like a tradition that you do? Do you have like one? Well, I'm sure you probably have a bunch of things, but do you have like, what's one tradition that you have where it's like, all right, we do this thing, most people don't?
All right. So in Virginia, I think it's a Virginia thing. That's what my dad always grew. It's we eat oyster stew like the whole weekend before Christmas. Yeah. So he eats it on Christmas Eve, but I even eats it on Christmas morning. My dad does oyster stew. Yeah. So Friday night, that's where Shelly and I went to my parents' house and had oyster stew. And that's just a Christmas tradition. And so, yeah, because the kids are with their dad. So we go over there almost pretty much every year now, have oyster stew, the oysters from the Chesapeake Bay. And yeah, man, it's good eating.
I've never heard of that. I don't know if it's a Virginia thing, but I've definitely never done anything like that. So
yeah, man, oyster stew stuff.
We did
this was
Chinese food on Christmas Eve. We did that thing, but I think a few other people do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we did.
That's what my mom said she did growing up. Was they did Chinese food on Christmas Eve with her mom. Yeah.
Now my mom, my Italian mother, it doesn't matter what the holiday is, right? They'll mix in some other things, but there's going to be like a balsamic salad with salt and pepper. That's the way she makes it. This is it, right? And then there's this pasta that it's been in my family, forever.
Yeah.
And she'll make that pasta, and then she'll make this one dish called cotolette. Right? It's an Italian dish. You make it. It's like with a beef or you can do it with different types of meats, but essentially this way you make it. It doesn't matter what the holiday is. If it's something of relative importance, or if let's say, hey, Carmelo's in town, we haven't seen him in a while. Boom, pop the phone now, right? Yeah. We're gonna have it, right? So, but I think here's the thing, though. I'll tell you this: it's now become. I think it's now become a thing where everybody just is kind of, crossing their fingers that it's going to happen or maybe expecting it. But Lindsay makes this charcuterie board. Charcuterie.
Yeah, that's right.
Charcuterie is the word, right? I think that's good. Dude, it's something special.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
That's cool. We played a lot of cool games as well this year on Christmas. My brother just found all these games from TikTok and said, all right, we're playing them. So it was a lot of fun.
Games from TikTok.
Yeah, man. Just like blowing out there's a line of candles and you guys see if you can blow out the whole table.
And
then, I mean, whoever wins and gets like a prize or something like that. We just did that. Cool. Open and press in or something like that. So
we always did left, right, center. You know, left, right, center?
Yeah.
We do it with dollar bills.
Yeah.
You do it with a big amount of people, it costs you $3 to play, right? Because you got to have 3 singles, one to go to the left, one to go to the right, one to go to the center. And eventually you could be out. You might not even be out for those who've never played the game. But eventually you play with enough people, someone could win $65 if they win the pot. I'm like, all right, deal me in again. Right?
Always
you
fun.
Go in with like $20 and you're like, all right, I got $20 to burn. Let's see what happens. You might win a couple pots. You know what I mean?
Right. All right. So now let's talk about Sport Karate's Christmas gift that came over the weekend. That was some of our breaking news, and JPM picked up a couple of new people. So we got last week where Gabrielle Dunn was picked up. Gabrielle Rudolph was picked up. Now we got 2 new people, 2 new fighters. One is, I believe, 16, Jake Muick. He is from Trevor and Casey's school, Trevor National School, Team United, and picked up on JPM. So pretty awesome. I've known this kid since he was probably 8 years old. A great competitor. I've done a couple private lessons with him, helping him with his forms and stuff back in the day. He can do it all, but he's an amazing fighter. And so he's come a long way throughout the year, and I think showed that he could be very coachable. And I think that's the key thing with this pickup, right? And that's something that really a lot of guys from Trevor's school are. All right. And he's a great coach.
I think that's a testament.
He's one of the most underrated coaches there is, and then you also have the methodical mind of Casey Nash as well into that. Right.
Right.
Which I think she is. She's very methodical. She has a method to everything. And she really is a real strong thinker. We've had her on the show twice, and we've heard that. Right. So I think it's a great pickup. He follows up with Sebastian, who was picked up last year. So we have 2 junior fighters now. These days the junior fighters are moving up a lot faster than they used to. I don't know if he will. We will see, but that was the first one.
Well, on that,
first, yeah.
And I don't really know anything about the fighter. I don't know if you know much about him as a fighter. I think I might have seen him fight before. The more I try to think about it, I think I've seen him fight before.
I might have seen him at Infinity because he was on Infinity as well, Team Infinity for a little bit.
I know who the kid is.
And he might have came to Infinity National.
Oh, no, I know exactly who this kid is. Oh, I like this kid. I like this kid a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never mind. This kid's a beast. All right. But here's what I'll say though. All right. Let's say I've never seen him, didn't know. I think I like the mindset and the strategy around picking him up, how and why. And I'll explain why. So if you think about it, how many guys, adults, men,
right,
are competing that are not already on a designated team?
Exactly.
There are some. There's plenty. Let's say in a tournament, there's a few hundred. Maybe there's 20.
Yeah.
Now that's also, let's keep in mind, everybody's technically a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is. Everybody.
Oh,
is.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't matter. You take somebody who you just seem like they're untouchable, right? Let's say you take Tyreek Saint on team top 10 USA, right? You're like, come on, man. He is top 10 USA, right? Who knows, right?
Who knows?
Could be taken, right? It could, all it could be.
Converge with somebody else, right?
It could be an argument between he and somebody, or someone could just be like, hey, man, I think you are the bomb, and I'm going to pay you X, and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Okay, I guess. Or maybe, let's say, using the same team, not dogging the team, but let's just say Enrique Latona, right? And let's say Tony Hamsani was like, yo, you're the bomb, and I think I can help you even more. Let's say Enrique was like, oh, I think you can. I actually think that relationship might work really well, right?
Right.
And maybe he'll be like, oh, okay. It's just an example of how everyone's a free agent, right? If anybody remembers the Exodus, the end of 2003 with JPM, that just explains, there was enough. And the reason why we're talking about this is because I think we need to remind ourselves what JPM and getting picked up on JPM was. The forms and weapons competitors understand that because they understand that for what it is. For forms and weapons, it has not changed. It is only elevated, right?
Right.
To where, there are other forms and weapons competition teams, but none of them matter if you're competing against JPM. The JPM has the best, and then there's some other competitors that could win, right? They can, right? But JPM just looks at, goes, who's the top and the best of the best? I'm just going to make a phone call and you're going to answer and say yes. And that's what it was. And that's what it used to be for fighting as well, right? It used to be for fighting as well, where they would just wait and go, okay, who's the number one in that division? We'll just wait till the year's over. We'll make a phone call. They'll say yes. And then that'll be the next team, right? Mm-hmm. Well, people stopped answering the phone and people stopped saying yes right away. And now it had to get a little strategic. So I kind of like the strategy.
More teams kind of came about too.
Yeah, that's also true.
More options came about.
Which is why I kind of like the strategy, because if you if you wait until, all right, let's say they're the number one in the division, and they're already solidified, they've already got equity with this team. It's it's going to be much harder to pull that off now. So now you don't just have to, present, a sponsorship or a package to them. Now you have to figure out how you're going to pull them away. And it's who wants to do that? Right.
Yeah.
So I think this would be cool.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, as right now we are still in the process of finding more 18 plus fighters to create a men's team for our team for Heartland South. So, we're in that same process as well. And it is tough, So understand that. The next one is one from California. So this one's, I think, both of them were kind of unseen, like not expected, right? But Sean Magallanes, I don't know if I'm saying that right, from Pittsburgh, California. And
wait,
a fighter.
What did you say?
Pittsburgh, California is where he's from.
That's a place.
Yeah. Shotokan Salas. I'm not sure what school he is from. I know that he competes in the league, and he's been the MVP for fighting for the Bay Area, for the league for a couple years now. I saw some video of him competing, fighting Jack Felton not too long ago, fighting him very well.
Winning or in competition.
In competition, yeah, at a tournament. So I don't know how long ago that was, but
yeah.
So looking forward to seeing what he does. We've had, some of the best competitors ever. We were talking about this a couple of weeks ago from California in our sport, right? So, and we've been begging to see more of those guys back out, right? We see a couple of guys here and there. Krista Scala has some great competitors, some great students that come out and compete. Sean Dumblau has some great people. One of the best to me VFT episodes or pay-per-views they had was the one where we had the Cali team, the NorCal guys come over and compete, And
what was the female's name again? I'm blanking. Oh, wow. She was good.
Yeah.
I'm blanking.
I'm thinking as well. Cause I
think she fought with QJ. Oh man. I think she did. Cause it was like a mixed double, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That was a great one. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I probably mentioned it last right when we were probably promoting the fight card, but Sean, I think it was Sean hit me up. It was right before AKA, probably, around this time to say, hey, we're going to come in a few days before the tournament. Can we come train with you guys? We heard you guys fight on Thursdays. You guys want to fight? Maybe it was Thursday. Maybe it was Wednesday. I'm not sure. But it was before the tournament. And I'm like, yeah, bring your guys, man. This would be a lot of fun. They have a certain style, man.
Yeah.
And what I like about the style is it just seems like nothing bothers them.
Right.
Nothing bothers them.
And again, that's the NorCal style. It's different than the SoCal style, which, I mean, if you watch Jack Felton, you would think the same thing, right? But it's different. That's just Jack. That's different. But yeah, the NorCal style has a flavor to it, has a relax to it. They'll find ways to make it entertaining. They'll have different footwork. A lot of them are really good kickers as well as good blitzers. So I'm excited to see what he brings to the table. He's 20, so he's going to be right in the adult division. So you have him and Alex competing as far as the adults. You have Jake and Sebastian competing in juniors still, which I think Jake and Sebastian last year were in the same division. I don't know if they're both moving up, but
someone is.
They're molding, a team, which I think is the right way to go. Get one or two guys that are already young that are in the adults, have a few there in the juniors, maybe have them do one more year and then get them to go, or just let them, when they're ready. So,
and that's what's great about this sport that we do is that, I mean, there's clearly people who are better than others, right? But what we do, anybody can be beat in any match. Anybody can be beat. And that's why to some degree, like it does matter. Like you have to have really good talent. Like if you're going to win like a team fight, like it matters because you could, beat someone who's really better than you. Right.
Yeah.
And listen, this is a true thing. It's okay to be honest with yourself and say like, yeah, dude's better than me, but I beat him. I got him today.
Right.
Sure. Go ahead. You can say you're better than me, but I got you, and that's okay.
Right.
But you got two other guys that have got to do the same job. So talent matters, but at the same time, like you can improve on that. So you don't have to go out and I want the most talented guy right now. Right? You can develop that stuff. It'll be exciting in the end. It's going to be really exciting. Let's see. Hey, I hope they're all out at AKA. We can all see them fight again soon, right?
Yeah. Yeah, this is going to be exciting, man. So we got a lot going on, aka, new pickups from not just JPM but other teams. We'll be bringing them out. I wonder who all is going to be there. It's going to be a big event. I know our team. We're going to have 14 or 15 on our team going this year, so we got a whole new squad of people, juniors and some adults. So. And lots of things going on. So yeah, so it's going to be exciting to get this year going.
I heard a rumor that Revolution picked up 30 new people for their team.
I just saw about 4 or 5, but yeah.
Just kidding. I literally do not even know. I was just throwing it out there because they have the largest team in history.
Well, we're going to get to that right now. We're going to get to Christmas break training, which right now there's a lot of that going on with the camp. So Revolution is doing their camp in Detroit, Michigan area. Yep. We have in Florida, Devin put on a huge, awesome camp that was 4 days. I think it ends tomorrow. I mean, some of the best fighters, but also like mentally and great coaches too. So I loved how it set it up, how his was set up with conditioning, strength and conditioning in the morning, a little rest, your first lesson or training with like an instructor. Then you have, lunch, and then you have another instructor, and then you have film time, like film session, where they sit with one of the instructors, one of the coaches, and just examine film. And he goes over what he sees when he watches, what he does it. I watched a video of Christian Rivas watching the film, and dude, it was some really good informational stuff that he goes about. This is what I mess up on. This is what I want to cover. We're going to just watch the last 30 seconds of this fight. What am I doing wrong? Or he even went over, all right, technically, if I'm up by 6, I should just move around. But I don't want to waste. If I see open points, I'm going to take them. And so he was just talking about, just how to do that while not getting too anxious, right? And breaking that down and showing that to the guys on the film study. So it was a cool thing that they're doing. They finish up tomorrow. I mean, they have Hakeem Walker, Chris Walker tomorrow, both of those guys. Damon Rodriguez was coaching today. Bailey Murphy was there coaching day. Tomorrow he's doing film session.
I saw pictures of the guys there, man.
Ty Saint did a film session today and teaching yesterday. Wow. Kevin Walker's there. I mean, you got
listen, if they didn't have any of that, and if all it was just, hey, all these guys are here and we're all going to fight and train together. If all it was just open mat training and hey, all these guys are here, that's worth the price of admission. Right,
and they're doing that tomorrow night. So tomorrow night in Orlando at Devin's school there and Abeta school there, they're having open mat. $5 to come in. If you're not at the camp already, $5. Take that. Take that. Go down there and do it, man. So yeah. And even some of the people who are taking the camp, Rashad Eugene every day taking the camp, Pia taking the camp, Sophia, Connor Chastain doing the camp the whole time,
See, and that's it right there. You know what that reminds me of? And this is also, and I don't know if he's having it right now. I don't think he is, but that reminds me of when Jody Tension had his TCK winter camp.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest of names that were there. And all of those guys took the camp. Like, I thought that was super exciting when he had Elijah and Roman as coaches. Like, for one part of a day, they were, running the camp. They had their session, right? But then you'd see them throughout the week. They were in every single session all week long. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I saw Ross doing that. Yeah, so really cool stuff.
You're 13 years old. Let's just say, all right? You can be like, hey, listen, there's these guys. There's this camp that's going to happen. I know you don't know about it, but there's this camp that's going to happen. I think you should go. And that's, as instructors or coaches or mentors, that's pretty much how we start it. That's how we start that conversation. Like, listen, there's this camp. It's going to be really good for you. I think you should go. And they typically go, oh, when is it? And I go, listen, I want to tell you a little bit more about the camp.
Yeah.
there's going to be some world champions that are there. And when I say there's going to be some world champions, like pretty much every division you do, there's going to be like 3 or 4 world champions in every division you do that are going to be there, and they're going to be taking the camp with you.
With you.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And that's what this looks like. That's what this elite camp looks like. So, but there's more, man. AKA has their winter camp going on.
There's more.
But there's more. AKA has their winter camp going on. I saw their videos. They had like 60 plus people in that dojo, killing it, focusing on the basics, the strong stuff, the good stuff. They have Justin Chang back to run it, and he has other people there as well. You have apparently tomorrow the Competitive Edge camp has 60 people sign up for that. There, you got Jackson, you got the Presley brothers, you got Gabrielle, all teaching and running that camp with already the competitors that are on that, the up and coming ones that are on that team. So another cool one though. There's another cool one though. What I'm excited about, and they're calling it more of a open forms masters class. And I think the take that they've been doing on this is really neat because it's more. They only allow 20 people to come to the camp, and because they want to be very individualized, right? And that is. How did I just forget his name? We got Vince Little, Vince Scarduzio, and Derek Megan running this camp, right? It's those three. Camp. Yes, the American camp, but it's a little different. It's more than just the American camp. It's more of just the Open Forms Masters class that they are doing, and they are breaking down everyone's form, move by move, how to tweak it, how to do this. Very informative. They ask you to send your forms ahead of time, so they had a game plan. So it's taken to a whole nother level, right? So really cool on how they're doing that. Yeah, the American camp. So there's that. There's a lot of ones, man, that's going on, So, honestly, the Revolution one had a ton of people in it, and they had this huge, indoor, training center with, the green, and they had 6 different sessions going on. So everyone's really stepping it up, man. So I'm excited that these options are back, as it wasn't really a thing before. So yeah. And usually Jarrett has a forms one as well in his area. I'm not sure is this year or not, but lots of cool things going on. I mean, I'm sure I missed one or two, but
all of them should be successful as well.
Yeah.
Right.
So Alex, there. Go right. All I'm saying is, all right, let's ask the question. Christmas break training. Do you got any stories, or what was it that you always focused on when it was on Christmas break training? Were you one that just took the week off, or were you one that Infinity Camp as well? I knew they had one as well. So
no. Break, here's what I would do. This time, no, this is not the time to take off. Heck no. Right? I'll take it from, and you can recognize with this, and any high-level forms competitor can recognize with this. I mean, there was some November tournaments, and obviously there's super grands, and we'll talk about that later. But for a lot of us, about November, you started looking at really maybe before that, you started thinking about what is my form going to be next year?
Yeah.
Come January, is it going to be the same or not? Right?
Right.
If you were someone like John Su, then obviously it was going to be the same because he's the same form for 6 years, right?
I don't know about that.
It's an exaggeration,
right.
But when you watched him do his form, you kind of knew what it was going to be, and it was still amazing. Anyway, moving on. But that was this was the time where if you're going to start adding things, if you're going to start adjusting things, if you're going to come out with something crazy, this is the time to bust your ass on it, right?
Yeah.
So to start looking at that, and I remember going in, I remember dude, I'm really going to turn this shit up. And I really started working on it. I had, and I kid you not, it's going to sound crazy, right? Because I never did it in competition, but I had this move that I was going to do. And I landed it probably a dozen times. And I'm like, I think I can do this thing. And this is going into 2002, right? 20 years ago, right?
Yes.
20 years ago. So you tricksters, right? Go easy on me, right? But I had it. I had a combo that I was working on, but what I wanted to do was a double twist at the end of the combo, right? A double butterfly twist. But I was gonna land, but the second one was gonna be an illusion twist. So I was gonna do a butterfly twist, and then the second one was gonna kick out over the top, and then I was gonna land solid. And then I'm telling you, it was a freaking kick-ass ending, and I really worked on it. I never really did it because on one of the landings, fractured the blade of my foot. Fractured the blade of my foot. How many times have we done that on moves like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think in that same form, I had an axe kick aerial that I was trying to pull off. How many times have we done that and destroyed our ankles?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, because we did things. I mean, think of the time frame I'm talking about. 2002. There ain't no mats. Who's got mats?
Right.
Nobody's got mats. Right?
Yeah, man. I remember so many just training, just hours and hours, just going to the gym. You know, because a lot of times some of our karate schools were closed. We weren't having classes, but we were just, all right, let's just go and train and go and train.
Perfect opportunity to sit in there by yourself, just get to work.
Exactly. And I think people need to take the opportunity to do that. Ask your instructor, do this or that. Yes, they may need a break. I took a week off, this week, which was great, but I didn't stop training. You know what I mean? I just took the break from work. I've been training every day. I've been going to the gym, but I've been training smarter now than what I used to, right? Focusing on from the ground up, working on my ankles, working on the stability, working on those things, really doing the strength and the balance training and stuff, doing some swimming, doing different things that's going to help me get better. Like today was mostly just really stretching and then working on balancing on the Bosu ball, or whatever, Bosu ball, whatever. And so working on that, doing different things with that, doing the Nord stick curls.
Your hammies is going to be steel.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of different
those, man.
That. So
now now we know you've been working with Ross Levine, man, with his tree trunks for legs.
So got a lot going on with that for me. For one of the things when you talked about tournaments at the end, I always would try to find those, and that would be the way that I would practice, so, and this was ending up when I was doing NASCA as a kid, we would go to some of those, most things ended at the beginning of November. We may have a tournament or two that maybe we would try to do to practice what our plan was for the next year. Right.
Like early December. Say like, all right, let's bring out the new routine.
Exactly. But then when you go into Super Grands training, it was different because you started working and practicing those things. The tournaments from October and November, December were all getting you ready for a week-long event at the end of the year, right? And then really by January, you just needed to recover, from all that. And then if you were able to go to AKAs, you did that. But AKAs years ago wasn't in January, so I waited a while. But I usually didn't do a tournament until February or March.
Really?
After Super Grands, usually I would try to. Now sometimes I would go to John Chung's a week or two after, because that's in the middle. But it just depends on just how I feel and stuff. But yeah, I mean, training for Super Grands was different because this is the way I would set it up. I would actually train based on what my schedule was. So like in my mind, all right, the day is Tuesday at the 27th. What do we have on Tuesday? We have open musical forums, continuous fighting, and musical weapons. All right. This could all happen. You could do forums. You may have to run over there, do continuous fighting, run back, do your forum here. You may have a tiebreaker. You may have to do it again. And I would train my students that way. So we would do their first form and then be like, oh, I maybe just randomly say, oh, we're fighting now. And we go and fight. Boom, boom. Do 3 or 4 rounds. All right, you're done with that. Guess what? You got to run back there. You got a tie to make it to finals. You're going to the finals right now. We got to do this. Let's go. Let's do your form right now. Boom.
That would irritate
that's
the
how
hell
we
out
had
of
to
me.
do it, man. Huh?
That would irritate the heck out of me.
But that's how it was. That's how it was
I
competing.
know.
And
Yeah,
you go to those long events, you know, especially if, say, one day you only have one. All right, cool. We're just going to train this form so much that, you know, you're ready. So really being strategic with it is what helped it. So, but you had to do it, you know, you had to train that way. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it John's that year, this year, Andrew. I have, that's the week I'm going to be doing belt testing and some other things going on before I leave for, AKAs. So unfortunately, no. But yeah, Brett's right. It was rough if you competed in all events. We're kind of getting into that.
Nonstop, like all week long. You just didn't stop doing karate.
Yeah, pretty much, right? And then when you get older, you're working the event, or you're judging, or you're running the event and competing and having school, a school there. So yeah, man, it was. I needed another week off after it. You know, like guys like myself, Edgar Cordova, Corky Sykes brought huge teams. All of us, you know, the Canes, Nick Kane, all of us have brought big teams. Trevor Nash, Casey, like we needed another week off after. Okay, it was just wild, just because you had so Laco had a huge team that he brought, and so just wild and crazy times.
Wow.
So many, as far as worst Super Grand stories.
I'm gonna ride your coattails on these, man.
Yeah. So
because I've never been to Super Grand, so I'm gonna tell you some little snippets like, "Hey, man, I heard about this, I heard about that," but really, you're gonna steer this ship.
Yeah. We're one of the last times I went up to Buffalo was really bad. The snowstorm was like awful. So we were bringing we were helping set up, and so we had a truck with a trailer and everything on the back, and we pretty much had to go like 40 miles an hour the whole way up there, right? That was a couple days before. When my parents and the kids were coming up, they literally for like 4 hours had to drive like 15 miles an hour. That's how bad it was. They couldn't see. It was awful. Right now, Buffalo is like that right now. Okay. Apparently, or it was. It's like it was in a state of emergency. They just told everyone to stay home, don't do anything. It was wild. So
just pretend it's April of 2020 and you can't leave.
Right. Yeah. So it's going up to Buffalo is interesting, right? As a kid, you know, I went to Super Grands in Savannah, Georgia, which is a beautiful place. We went to Hollywood, California, which was fun, lots of fun. Went to Panama City, which in November was freezing. So story. We'll share this. I think I've shared this one before of how me and Leroy Tankson had to shave our heads bald, right? And so, yeah.
I think you have, but I want to hear
so
it again.
He was going to shave my head, right? Because I came straight from college. Because I had exams, and so I was like, all right, I can't miss this. I had exams, and then I just flew down there, and I didn't get to get my hair cut. And it's just a big thing for me to have my hair cut before, especially then. I used to just buzz cut. So we're like, all right, let's do it. Let's just cut our hair. Well, we picked up Damon's beard trimmers and cut my hair, and it went all the way to the scalp. And we're like, I don't know if it's going. I don't think it's going to look how you think. It'll just be tight. It'll be all right. Nah, man, like it's going to be really tight. Okay, so
it's all the way now.
Crazy. So we're in the bathroom, in the tub, shaving my head.
Just dulling Damon's beard trimmer.
Yeah.
He's going to go to use it later. And he's going to be like, dang, this thing's pulling. How come this thing's so dull?
So Damon comes in there, like, what are these two idiots doing? Damon and Mallory are just laughing their ass off at us too. So then they convinced Royce that, man, look what you did to Jeff's hair. You need to do it too. And so he's like, all right, man. So I shaved his head and like,
With the same beard trimmer.
Yeah. Well, I think we ended up, because of the way it was, we just went ahead and razor blade, like shaved both our heads.
Razor?
Yeah. Mallory did that. Mallory helped us out with that. So this is wild. So I wear a beanie the rest of the time. It's cold. All right. And then I we go downstairs.
Right. You're Sub-Zero.
And we're hanging out together, and I had this bald head. Royce has this bald head. We looked like half an Oreo. It was bad. And it was just kind of crazy. But going outside to like the party and stuff that they had on the beach, it was freezing, man. With no hair, it's like, this is not the time to do this.
So wait, party on the beach.
So after Super Grands, Boyce always puts on like a after tournament party, right?
Miss those days when people
and man, it was great. Always a lot of fun. A lot of times though, he would have it on the stage. So like, cool. and especially when it was on New Year's, he would have the big clock and everything and the countdown, and then the big buzzer would go off and the balloons and everything. It was a lot of fun.
Makes it cool.
Yes. That year they tried to do that, but then have it outside on the beach because like, let's do a beach bonfire. So they had a beach bonfire. But in Florida, Panama City, wintertime, it wasn't as warm as it normally is there. So
and then if it's at the end, typically the end of karate tournaments are like 12:45 a.m. Is that about what time it was?
No. At that time, they didn't do overall grands yet or anything. So they had an awards banquet that started a little earlier, like 6, and then it was done by 8.
So normal people time.
And then everyone just got to hang out.
I could get down with that.
There's so many stories I can't tell from that Super Grands. All right. This was an epic Super Grands. But yeah, man. So there's so many fun ones on that. All right. What's something maybe you heard about a Super Grands?
I've heard a number of them. Now, remember, outsider looking at. So I'm going to ask some as we're going through this. So when you're doing the Super Grands, it's kind of like it's a true year-end championship, right?
Correct.
So not like, oh, you've taken 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place, but you're the champion. You've never won first place in your division, but you're the champion. It's not like that. You could win first place the entire year and then lose the championship.
Right. Do you remember what I shared a couple weeks ago? Was that one year I went to all the national tournaments, but I got 2nd place, and I ended up going out of 25 people like 3rd or 4th. Do you remember that? Because I didn't have a number one
about.
seed. So it really is like you got to do your homework. You got to schedule it right. You got to make sure you get some type of number 1 seed, a regional seed,
or you're just going to be doing an obnoxious amount of competition.
Yeah.
So Dwan Brown, shout out to my homie. Love that dude, by the way. That dude is as Chicago as it gets. I almost wanted to put him in the Mount Rushmore of Chicago.
Not yet.
I think it's just because people think of Chicago. They think of Larry Tankson. They think of Scorp. They think of Dwan. Or they think of Jason.
Yeah.
I know it's Arlene. That's the right answer.
Right.
But I mean, Dwan should be right there. He should be right there. You know what I mean?
He would be in like a top 5. He would be in like a top 5 or top.
For sure. Because he's so Chicago. Anyway, love this dude. He's telling me, he's like, yeah, I didn't do a single tournament all year. And I'm like, how could you go? Thought you have to qualify. And he goes, no, I did a wild card.
Yeah. You can do
a wild. What does that mean? And he's like, basically, think of it like you went to a tournament and the division already started. So they went, okay, we have the bracket set. We're going to put you on the, like, you got to do it like a fight in to get to this bracket. Yeah, I'm like, so you have multiple. So basically you have more fights than anybody. He's like, yeah. And if I lost early, my fault. I was like, so.
Yeah. So if
how many fights did you have He
Yeah.
was telling me he was like for like one division. He said he had like almost 20 fights.
Yeah, and I think he got what was that year? Did he get runner up or he got third that year? I think when he
I
did that.
think he might have got runner up.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
he made it to stage or did he? I think that year that he did that,
I'm not
I think
remembering
he was
exactly.
third. I think he was the third because I think Leon beat him. Leon Jefferson beat him, and then Leon went on to fight one of the guys from Mexico who had a good
Oh,
season.
okay.
Yeah, I
But
believe that. Yeah.
that's wow. So that's a real thing. So that happens, right?
Yeah, that happened. Yeah, that used to happen a lot. That was some of the more memorable ones, like
Yeah.
that's what Ross always said he wanted to do was it's like, yeah, but if I go to Super Grands, I want a wild card and do like Trevor did, or do like Raymond did, or do like Jason,
Whoa.
those
Those guys did that? Where they went
Yeah.
wild card and then won the whole thing?
Yeah. So
Of
like
course they did.
Trevor one year came in without a seed, I think in 99. He didn't, and it ended up being him doing all of these fights. And in the finals, it was him versus Jason. Jason ended up winning that year, but he fought like 14 or 15 fights, right, to get there.
Isn't this the
And
one that
then,
Coach Conroy was talking to us about before he picked them up and was like,
yeah, that's how he picked him up was
he was watching. He's like, I need to start this team. And he's at Super Grands and he's like, I want both of those guys.
Yep.
Talk about,
Yep.
and that's the thing, guys. That's why young fighters,
Trevor in time was awesome.
You just have to be competing all the time because you never know what opportunity is going to be the one where people say, like, dude, that's the freaking guy, right? That's the guy I want. Or you never know. You're going to have an amazing moment where you do kind of like what I said with like Duan. Now, Duan had already made himself at that point, right? But let's say you were a young fighter, right? You're 3-4 years in, and then you do a wild card and you run it all the way. Are you kidding me? The amount of like ground that will propel you, right? That's huge going into the next year. Going to the next year.
Oh yeah.
Look at that confidence, right?
Oh yeah. It made a huge difference. When I watched one of my best friends, Brian Young, do it at the 2010 Super Grands, right?
Yeah.
He did it because he had just returned from knee injury for like a year and a half. He was out, not doing anything. He comes back at Super Grands. He's like, I'm going to do it. All right. He goes all the way through 16 fights. He loses one, I believe. And I thought it was, or maybe he didn't lose until on stage, but he lost to Michael Jefferson, right? So they go back on stage and he beats Michael Jefferson in a real tight fight. It was awesome. At that time, this is 2010. Michael Jefferson probably had his peak right then as far as his high.
All-star fighter at that point.
All-star fighter. It was a great, there were so many like just solid competitors in that division. Yeah. And so really cool just to see, Brian do that to win his first one actually too. And that was his first point title that he won. So really cool. But yeah, man. Yeah, Brett had one where he lost to a wild card. Finals, so that's never good. But yeah, Chris Gallagher.
That year, I remember. I think it's either that year, or maybe it was the year before. It probably was where Ray came out. He must have wild carded, and
he decided not to use his seed in 2000 and wild carded. Yeah,
because he went. I think I heard about. I did know about that. Yeah. I'm talking about. I think it was either 2009 or 10, where he fought, and
yeah.
And he fought Chance Turner.
Yeah, 2011 was where that was, when that was.
Okay, that sounds more accurate. Yep. And he's fighting a young Chance Turner. He might have been 18, right? And Chance comes out like all of the athleticism that Chance has. And you know what? If you watch the video, right? Ray wins because he's Ray, right? But Chance goes out, he clips him with a spin kick, right?
Right. Yeah.
It goes out there, in all of his, when Chance bounces, it's a little erratic, but you always think like, holy crap, he's going to go right now. Holy crap. Right. Like he's bouncing so high. Right. And then he caught him with a good explosive blitz. Right. And just like all that young testosterone and athleticism Go for it, guys.
Yeah.
Get out there. You're not supposed to win anyway.
Right.
Right? Who you're fighting. Get out there. Try a spin kick on them. Do it.
There's so many cool stories. I'm just going to end with one. It was kind of a long one. I probably told it before, but this is my first Super Grands win that I had. And it was a big one for me because I just fractured my ankle the month before. And I was like, this is my year to finally win. I'm going no matter what. I don't care. I'm doing it, right? I literally get off crutches before I get on the plane. And I go and I have 3 divisions. They're all on 3 different days. So that's not too bad, right?
Yeah, that's good.
But here's the other problem. I signed up to judge the whole week too, right?
That's not good.
So I have to center ref on a bum ankle, the biggest division of the whole Super Grands, like 30 competitors, the 10, 11-year-old division, which is one of the best divisions there was. There's like Bobby Ceronio in there as a 10, 11-year-old, Rachel Young, who's one of my favorite competitors ever from United. So many like top people that are probably Amanda Chin was in there. A lot of these competitors, they're way back, and some are still competing now. That were in there. Just crazy things like that, right? And I'm like, I need to get out of here. I need to not after this division, I'm done. Like I need to rest. I did my first division, got a 5th place. Did my next division, got 3rd in weapons. And I'm like, all right, I only got one more shot. So I have open musical, and I think still my seed wasn't that good. So like I went maybe like 3rd or something, right? And I just say, you know what? Let me just go out the way that people really want to see. So I brought back after like 7, 8 years Intergalactic, and
Yes.
and dude,
we
like
don't want to see Intergalactic, or we want to see Moni Moni, right? That's what we want to see. Those are the only 2. But
Intergalactic kind of I did it, and this was also like when I started debuting the knees in a circle kicks, and then I did it forward and backwards, so on my knee, and people were losing their mind, and I was like, all right, this is it. I beat all the top guys. The top seed was Josh Durbin though, and Josh Durbin's amazing. This is like 2009, so he was just on on the US Open, on ESPN. Amazing competitor. He just keeps getting better, and we tie. So I'm like, okay, well, we tie. We both go to the finals. We'll just, what does it matter? No, there has to be a winner. They have to determine who's going to go first, who's going to go second in the finals. Okay, so we had to do it again. Did it again. I changed some things. I did some different stuff. My ankle's killing me. We tie again, bro.
Yeah, you did mention this. This was a fantastic
And then
story.
They voted, and I won like 3 to 2, right? And it was just wild. So I'm like, all right, I won that. After that whole experience, now I still have to go on stage and do it again tomorrow night, right?
Congratulations, your body's beat up. Go do it again.
I was so exhausted and tired. Actually, I may have had to compete that night, actually, because that might have been when they stacked the finals up. Yeah. So
wow,
I had to compete that night, and then my music doesn't work, and I'm worse. They changed the CD. This is back when we started to use CD players. Okay, so they changed the Discman that they used. It didn't work. So I just said, "Can you?" I just told Vegeta, do you have Intergalactic? Like, yeah. All right, put it on. I'll just walk in, do my form, and do it. All right, whatever. So, because I had it a little edited and changed and stuff like that. I had an intro in that, right? And yeah, that was cool there, Brett. You're right, man. The other ring stopped when I started. That was pretty cool. But finally I did it. I beat Josh Durbin, who's one of my toughest and like favorite competitors to compete against. I have so much respect.
Iconic dude.
Yeah, just a great guy. Finally did it, because for me that was my last one to really get. I won the U.S. Open as a junior. I won NASCA. I won Battle. I won all the big tournaments except that. Right. I won WKA going overseas. I did those things. That was that main thing for me. So that was just a cool way to do it. And then the overall grands, like I just had the whole crowd like in the palm of my hands, and it was fun because it was myself versus Casey Marks versus Ashley Ortiz and versus Austin Jorgensen, which was his breakout tournament before he went on and joined JPM. So, or actually, Amerikick and then JPM. So,
Yeah.
was really cool. Just a big moment for me. It was my first, one to win. So, and again, like you said, like I probably my ankle wasn't right for the next month after that. I still had some things I had to work on to get my ankle right for the next year as well. Like even in May of the next year, like I was walking, both my ankles were just swollen. So I had a lot of things. Like the next year around, I think I saw a picture of this the other day. I had these like 2 huge black braces that look like they're just huge braces that I'm like, really? Did I really have to be like that? But yeah, that's what it was, man. The things we do for the sport, man. We love it.
How many times did we just busted our bodies up? I was just talking earlier about, like, yeah, we didn't have mats, and we did this. And I'm just glad for the kids now that you're in martial arts now. How many times, Jeff, has someone said to you, like, man, I wish I would have started martial arts, years and years ago, like you did? Like, no, you don't. I mean, some degree, it would be like, yeah,
some
it would
degree,
be
yes,
cool.
some degree, no, yeah.
It would be cool. Like, yeah, it would be great if you got a chance to be around like some of the people that I was around.
Right.
That part, yes. Yeah. But for the full martial arts, like, I'm kind of glad you're in it today.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
How many times do we do this? I mean, in the karate school, this happens all the time. Someone, it just could be a normal sparring class. They get a broken nose.
Yep.
Or stuffing toilet paper in there, you fight. You kidding me? The liability, the lawsuits that would happen today, are you out of your mind? Right?
That's crazy.
Right. So
well,
just take the legalities out of it. How about just like just care about the person?
Yeah.
Just things like that, like mats.
Yeah.
Understanding with the severity of what a concussion is.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. How many concussions can we all say we've had that we
didn't know about? Yeah.
Knew, but nobody cared. Right.
Right.
Oh, right. You got your bell rung. Get in there. Don't let him hit you again. Ooh, what am I supposed to do? Run? I don't even know what my name is.
That's right. Oh man.
There's been some of us that have had that happen. I got my hands up.
There has been. Oh man. Well, this has been a fun show, guys. This is going to be, we got going into 2023. I'm excited, man. This is going to be great. I look back, I wrote down, I kind of wrote down a little reflection in my journal and of like the things that I did this year. And I was like, dang, I did a lot of things this year. Like, and I didn't even like realize, like, it was just, like there's a lot of stuff that I did this year. And then I even like, when I write those things down, I said, I'm planning to do this next year. I'm planning to like, and I was like,
yeah,
dang, if this year was as much, if I have more things that I want to do even for next year, it's going to be outrageous. It's going to be awesome. So thanks for supporting us, guys. Thanks for supporting everybody and our sport and what we do. But yeah.
What is one thing, Jeff? I'm really curious, and I'll tell you what mine is. But what is one thing that you're like, you know what? I'm really glad this one thing happened for me this year. I did this. What's one thing?
That's hard, man. That's tough. There's obviously competition ones, but I'm going to say one that I didn't really think a few years ago, I would say, but it was for me getting my mastership in my original style and being rejoining my system that I came up under in. Because I think that was just a real cool thing to be a part of, really being an official part of my instructor's history and his lineage, and just where, because everyone in my system talks about me, but I was just the one that, oh yeah, that's Jeff. He'll come and do it.
Got away.
But he does his own thing. He does, Taekwondo and Shotokan, but now it's like I go and do all my tests with them all this year and last year and help them with this and help them with that. And having my school as a part of that lineage again. I think it was just a big deal for me personally and for my instructor too, to have me as a, to make that just official. So,
Right.
how about you? Well,
There's a lot of things, but since it's a martial arts based podcast, we're going to talk about it being martial arts. Like, I'm really glad that, like, my wife and I, we started our own, remodeling company.
yeah,
I didn't. How about me doing my own DJ company? I didn't think that was going to friggin' happen.
Right.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like I got, but you figure this stuff out. You learn. Like I got a gig on New Year's Eve. And I'm like, I'm kind of bummed because I'm like, man, it's gonna be the first New Year's Eve Lindsay and I have ever spent apart since we met each other. You know what I mean? Like, and they're paying a good coin, but in the back of my head, I'm like, I should have charged them an extra $1,000. You know what I mean? But anyway, they probably would have paid it. Who knows?
Yeah.
But it's so those things are fun. Those things are cool. But I will say, and we had many conversations on the pod about this one.
Yeah.
For the last time, I'm glad that my kids got to see me fight.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
I was, my youngest son, obviously, no, he did not. But my daughter will at least, for now, you don't remember everything when you were 5,
I do. But,
of course you do. What am I talking about? You remember everything, But she got to see it, My son got to see it. I don't know if he'll remember it, but it's like they got to watch it. They got to watch Dad do something. It was cool.
That's
because when we train, they've been asleep for hours.
Right.
So that's never gonna happen. They're never gonna watch me, training. That's not gonna happen. Yeah. So, but that part was kind of cool. I like that.
Well, my competition one.
Your what?
My competition one. You talked about it last week.
That's my favorite for you. Is you doing Moon Moo?
Yeah.
That's my favorite. I'm
doing that in the Diamond Nationals. Yeah.
Right now, Moon Moo at the Diamond Nationals is going to be a "Where were you" moment.
Maybe
that's going to be it. That's going to be.
It's how I followed up in 2023. So it's how I followed up in 2023. So
that is going to be the pivotal moment for Korean forms and open sport martial arts competition. Was Moon Moo at the Diamond Nationals in 2022. That's what it's going to be.
Cool. Well, thank you. All right, guys.
This has been another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I'm Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. See you guys next year. Happy New Year.